Welcome to Talk Birdie to Me. This is Australia's most popular golf podcast with former world number 16 Nick O'Hearn, the only player to beat Tiger Woods twice in match play, and tour pro Marc Allen, who played professional golf around the world for 15 years, including a British Open. We're coming from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. Titleist is the #1 ball in golf, and FootJoy is the #1 shoe and glove in golf. And thanks to our great partners, Watch My Numbers, the most powerful database golf app in the world. Download from the App Store or Google Play. Ping, as with Nick O'Hearn, will help you play your best. See your local golf shop or professional for a Ping Club fitting. The Golf Clearance Outlet beat everyone's prices. Visit golfclearanceoutlet.com.au for your nearest store. And Better, the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. Now that's better. Now, from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters, it's time for Talk Birdie to Me. Here's Nick O'Hearn and Marc Allen.
Magnificent. He read it perfectly. Just inside left. What a great putt.
The 41-year-old Australian Marc Leishman, a member of the reigning team champions, could now be a Live Golf League champion in his own right.
Well, good day everybody, and this week we're coming from the Brand Experience Room at the Titleist FootJoy headquarters. Nick, nice to see you, and great to see an Aussie have a win.
Always fantastic. That's 2 weeks in a row. We had Minwoo, Steve Allen last week, and now Marc Leishman.
No bogeys on the weekend. It must have been ridiculously difficult conditions because the team event was won with +4.
+4, yeah. Well, they count all 4 scores in the team event on that final day. So there was some pretty hot. There was a few scores in the 80s. It wasn't great golf. Doral can play pretty tough. When it gets windy, it was firm. It's actually pretty good preparation for the Masters this coming week.
Yeah.
But did you know the other thing with the Aussies? What they did is they had a training camp there in January at Doral.
Yeah. What was the story? That's their base?
No, I think it was just more of a team bonding thing, I'm guessing.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think it's their base, is it? Maybe it is.
No, I don't. Look, they all live in Florida, basically, don't they? They all live there or thereabouts.
Maybe.
Easy to travel to.
But it was miserable conditions then, and it paid off, obviously, this week because they got the team win. Got the double.
Something special happened at Doral many, many moons ago in a playoff. Do you remember?
Oh, yes, Craig Parry.
Craig Parry, hold the 6 iron. I don't know.
You don't know?
No, who'd he beat?
Scott Verplank.
Scott Verplank. Gee, what a star he was back in the day.
That was an incredible shot. And you know, he obviously pulled it because pin's back left and Paz hits the fade, but I think he might have hit a little pull draw and it worked out perfectly.
Good on you, Paz. I know you listen every week, mate. A big hello out to you. Just on that was the week at Johnny Miller.
It was.
Called him, had a swing like a 14 handicap, I think was the quote.
Probably a little higher than that, but yep.
Yeah, something bad. And did you see?
And you know what else he said?
What else did he say?
He said that swing would make Ben Hogan puke.
Oh, jeez. Did he really?
I think so. Or either that or turn over in his grave.
Well, when was that? Was that in the 90s? No, must have been the 2000s, I reckon.
Yeah, I think early 2000s. Late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay. Big hello to Johnny Miller, who's, by the way, whose grandson.
Yes.
Now, this was...
the drive, chip and putt.
The drive, chip and putt was representative from the Utah area, apparently. And his grandson's name is Nicholas Miller.
Incredible.
So not Nicholas like your Nicholas.
No.
Nicholas.
As in Jack.
As in Jack Nicholas, not Nicholas. It was
spelled
Nicholas.
the same way. So, and funnily enough, apparently Nicholas Miller had the drive chip. He had, because this was the putting section.
Yeah.
Like he putted beautifully, had it wrapped up, and then some young guy called Justice, I can't remember his name, Hudson Justice or something like that, makes 2 bombs to pip him.
But that wouldn't happen too often.
On the final hole.
That wouldn't happen too often. Someone holing.
No.
I think I read it's only happened twice in the history of the drive, chip and putt. Why aren't we doing a drive, chip and putt, by the way? Because that looks so good. Yeah. I mean, if you're talking about trying to get people involved and getting mums and dads razzed about taking kids down because, you know, every mum and dad, how about if we did that on the Monday of the Australian Open or the Monday of the Australian PGA? Yeah. Or the Monday of Live Adelaide. I mean, it's got to be done somewhere. I mean, there is nothing wrong with copying, is there? Especially if it's a good idea. Plagiarism, that's how I got here. I plagiarise everything I do. I plagiarise.
You do, actually.
I know I do. But that is there's nothing wrong with taking a great idea and owning it like it's your own.
Yeah. Fair call. Everyone's taken my waggle and owned it.
That's exactly right. Everyone's doing your waggle these days.
You've been doing it with jokes for years, Mark.
I plagiarise
Very
jokes
true.
like you wouldn't believe. I've got to test them out somewhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, the drive, chip and putt, it is a wonderful highlight, but also a wonderful highlight. Again, we saw a Spanish girl do so well in the AWAN, whatever the initials are.
Augusta National Women's Amateur.
Thank you.
NY.
NY.
NY, yeah.
So to see the girls playing one round at Augusta, even though it's not four,
I know.
one round at Augusta is a nice fit, and I love it.
Well, I know someone who's probably fired up to make it a Spanish double would be Sergio, because he played well at Live Miami, where Leish won. I think he finished tied second with Schwartzel.
Yeah.
So a couple of Masters champions coming to the fore.
The NY champion, do you know who she is coached by?
Sergio's dad.
Sergio's dad.
Victor.
How about that?
Yeah, Victor's a great guy too.
Is he?
Oh, yeah. He walks around the golf. He's always got a golf club with him. So back in the European Tour days when I was playing out there, and he was a lovely guy. Doesn't speak much English, but he'd always come over to my wife Alana, give her a kiss and a hug.
Did
and,
he?
Victor's he's a lovely guy, and
Alana is very kissable. There's no doubt
very,
about that.
very true.
He's lovely.
And but he always had a golf club with him. You know, it was a 7-iron or a
Really?
wedge or something.
Why?
Yeah, just I don't know. He just one of those guys. It was like his. What do you call it? A safety blanket or something, and he just loved having it, and he was always just gripping it, and maybe that's where all the regrips came from with Sergio. Who knows?
All those years ago. Interesting to see the way Leishman's win was covered in the Australian media. Wasn't quite Min Woo's, was it? I mean, Min Woo, I know it's a different kid. It's the first time winning Leishman, 40-something years old. How was he? 41. It's a little bit different.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I saw, was it your buddy Andrew Kirby on social media?
What did he say?
Coming out saying, well, you know, where's the love from Australian golf and all that? But to the PGA's credit here in Australia, they put out a nice post and gave it, and they were on it pretty quick. So I think quicker than what Andrew mentioned. But no, it was good. I actually saw it on the news too, which was good.
To be fair, I didn't watch much golf this week because I turned it on early in the week and the world feed was driving me crazy again, even though it's got some really good people on it.
Well, we had Radar on there, Wayne Riley.
He
was doing the interview at the end.
I quite like Radar.
Yeah.
He was one of my heroes growing up. I love him. Nick Doherty, the Englishman.
Nick Doherty was on there.
A superstar human being. I had 5 minutes to do with him, you know, in the 90s. He used to come down and play a little bit. Just a rip-roaring character. But it's not what we want. and it's not what we want because we want to see the best players playing.
Would you like the live commentary?
Now, live commentary, that's... How many shots hit in live golf is the greatest shot ever seen?
It happens,
according to the live commentators.
It happens at least 3 times an hour, I think.
That's the greatest shot I've ever seen in golf. Who is that guy?
Who's the Ted Lasso guy?
Is that who he is?
It's the guy off Ted Lasso. I can't remember his name.
He is not. Is he really?
It'll come to me. Yeah. He's hang on.
They've got to calm things down a little bit.
Well, I've seen it. Hang on. Hang on. Let's have a look.
Yeah,
Just
look up Ted Lasso.
Live commentators.
Yes, and I'll tell you straight. It's on the tip of my tongue. But you got David Ferrety,
who I used to caddy for.
Who else?
And
have
who's
you
a
got
great
now?
bloke.
Apparently,
He's the best commentator, Dave Ferrety. He's very good.
Pat Perez is now doing some commentary.
Pat Perez is very good. Yeah, he's good. He's good on course.
Who was it?
Arlo White.
Arlo White. That's the
Arlo.
guy. That's the guy I was thinking of. He's the main host. He's the lead.
Yeah, well, he's the guy who jumps up and down like it's the greatest shot ever seen in the
who else you
history
got on
of
there,
golf.
commentary-wise on the
One a
Live
day.
Golfers? But there's a couple other guys.
Oh,
that
hang on. I did Ted Lasso, so let me have a look here.
Look up live commentary.
Yeah,
Too.
no. We've got Arlo White.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jerry Foltz.
Jerry Foltz.
David
Jerry,
Ferrety.
is it?
Jerry does a bit of that. Who's that? Sorry.
David Ferrety.
Ferrety. Yep.
Suan Heng.
Okay. Don't
Dom
really know her.
Boulay.
Dom Belay. Yeah, he does a lot of Asian tour, or he used to do a lot of the Asian tour. But now, it's Dom and Arlo who are the voices that I kind of know a fair bit about, and they get pretty excited. So
They get too excited,
Which is-
Nick. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
They get too excited, particularly on round 1 and 2. Round 1 and 2, like if we're talking in a lot of ways, golf, it's like a horse race. It's like the Melbourne Cup. You know, round 1, they're just coming down the straight. Sometimes a horse jumps out and bolts and ends up with a 10-length lead past the winning post.
Sure.
That's no big deal because they've got so long to go.
Yep.
The back straight, there might be a little move here and there, but it's all gets serious when they're coming down the straight trying to win the thing. And it's the same in a golf tournament. That's why when commentators get super excited, unless someone's shooting a course record or a 59, just sit back in the chair and relax, bud.
It's almost like the first round of the Masters over the years, like back in the day, growing up in the 80s, 90s, John Houston would always lead after round one.
That's right. That is true.
There's just something about John Houston leading after round one and then he'd fade throughout the week.
That's right.
And then in recent years, it's been more Charlie Hoffman.
That's right.
Charlie would seem to have the first round lead at the Masters and fade as the event goes on.
There's another player. There's another player who's got this beautiful pause in the top of his swing, who's also another contributor to the first round leads in big tournaments.
Okay.
What is his name?
Got the pause. Cameron Young, you mean?
No,
Not
older, about 10 years older than Cam.
Gosh.
And he had this beautiful pause, and he was a serial first-round leader as well. By the way, this week's Masters special, listen in because we've got some first-round leader type bets and all kind, and our trifecta,
We're hopefully going to have
our multi. Our multi.
Where our Australian will finish this week.
Might be, yes. Hopefully, no, we just want, in our multi, we just want our Australian to start. That'd be nice.
That's true.
If he could just start this week, that'd be a big help. But make sure you listen out for the Masters special. Hey, what happened in the World Match Play in the girls at Shadow Creek? Because I noticed that they were about 5 over par.
Yeah, it was some
that won in the final round. I mean, how much golf are they playing?
It was some pretty tough scoring. Look,
did they not have caddies for the 170 holes that they had to play?
Shadow Creek is a pretty tough golf course. At the best of times, they were shooting some really low scores in the early rounds. They had the round robin format. As you know, I'm not a fan of the round robin. I think one and done. I mean, you lose, you're out.
That's right, because that means that when you beat Tiger Woods twice in the World Match Play, he would have kept on playing and probably won the thing.
Exactly.
That's why you're dirty on it.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody else wanted to see Tiger Woods win.
But Madeline Sackstrom beat Lauren Coughlin 1-up. Now,
what was the score?
I think
what was the score off the stick?
It was 1-up, but I think
Don't worry about that score. What was the score off the stick?
Madeline was 5 over, Lauren was 4 over, and yet Lauren lost. So that's the vagaries of match play. We have doubles, you might win by 2 or 3 shots on a hole. Now, to their defence, I think Lauren played about 126 holes, and I think Madeline played about 120 in the allocated
it's too many
4 days or whatever
it's
it was.
Too many.
That's a lot of golf.
So how do we get match play back into
the old
golf
format
on our TVs? One of the great tournaments in
Australia. I think the FedEx Cup should be match play. Top 8. Top 8 on the FedEx Cup, bang.
I am so with you there.
Quarter-final, semi-final, final.
This handicap thing
3 days, bang.
Reeks of somebody who doesn't understand golf to me. A handicap event
giving Scotty Scheffler
to win the championship of the year. Giving Scotty Scheffler how many holes?
A 2-shot head start from the guy in second, which was last year's, and
a 10-shot head start from the guy who's about 15th in line.
And they can't beat him when he starts probably 5 back. So
I don't like it. But we need more match play in golf now.
We do.
I don't want to see 140 holes played like the girls had to go through at Shadow Creek. That is ridiculous. There's got to be better ways.
Well, you could, instead of the top, it used to be top 64 players in the world, and you'd play round 1, 2, 3, quarterfinal, semi. So that's 6 rounds.
Yeah,
6 rounds of match play. Now that's if you played every hole, 108 holes. If you're doing extras, it's going to be more. You could cut that down around just top 32. Pretty simple.
It's pretty simple, isn't it?
That's an easy fix. Then you've got, what's that, 90 holes of golf?
Yeah.
5 rounds?
Yeah. So. I think the tournament they play in Warrnambool, what's that one on our...
Gippsland.
The Gippsland Super 6.
Yeah, that's good.
They've almost got it right. I mean, I like the Super 6. I think it's really, really good. But if we're doing a PGA Tour, I think it's got to be tweaked somehow.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, is there anything against 12-hole match play?
Probably not. Probably not. I mean, the greatest match plays of all was, remember when it was at Wentworth, and they'd play 36 holes in a day. In one match would be 36. That's just your regular final match. Well, the final. Did they play
and
the
I think the semi-finals too, with 36. Yeah, but that turned into...
That's back in the day.
That turned into the IMG Invitational.
True.
Where basically, if you weren't a client of IMG... there was no invitation. you had to. That's how Arnold Palmer was playing. Remember when we showed the chip shot last week of Seve Ballesteros chipping in on Arnold Palmer? I mean, in 1983, Arnold, how old was he in 1983?
Ooh, he would have
been close to 50. Yeah, and he was still getting an invite into the World Match Play.
Yeah, he would have been in his mid-50s.
That's right. So it was silly.
Anyway.
It was silly, even though it was great to see. I mean, he was all tied with Sevi Ballesteros coming down the last, so he wasn't too bad.
True. Hey, by the way, here's a good way to figure out how old certain golfers are. And I go with Watson, Nicholas Palmer, right?
How do you do it?
So you go in 86 when Jack won. How old was he?
46.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's so he was 46 in 86.
Yes.
Watson was 36 and Palmer was 56. There was 10-year gap between all of them.
Yeah,
so that's the easiest. And then you work back from there. So anyway,
yeah, that's
you do the
nice.
maths. So
I'm
that's
glad you've worked that out for us all.
Makes sense.
Anyway, I would like to see more match play back in tournaments.
Fair call.
It really
So
has
would
to
I.
happen.
I might start practicing again.
I know wherever I know wherever I go, people are talking about this world feed. Now, what is happening next week, Nick? Do we know what is happening
the Masters?
with the Masters?
Absolutely no clue.
I've tried to look into it. I don't think they know what's happening. I honestly don't think they know what's happening, or they're going to leave it as a big surprise.
I'm just hoping it's...
Surprise is the right word.
Actually,
if it goes badly.
we should send a message to Paul Gow. He probably knows.
Well, Paul Gow
He's
knows.
probably got the...
But see, Dan's in control of our socials. Now, Dan, you know better than Nick and I about the pushback, that's the nicest way I can put it, to the international feed at the moment, because you're not only on Twitter, but every single social we've got, and you see it all.
Oh yeah. No, it's out of control. It's every day there is multiple comments from people saying this is appalling. And to be fair, there's some who like it, but that's absolutely the minority.
If I don't hear Jim Nance on the Friday morning when I flick it on at 4 a.m. or whenever it comes on, I'll be throwing pens at the screen.
Well, we go into the surely the Masters app, or you watch it on...
I'm not watching Masters on an app.
Well,
I've got the biggest TV in history in my room. I'll watch it on that.
You can what do you do? You AirPlay it. You AirPlay your app up there or something. I don't know.
I don't want to do all that
Go to the
stuff.
Masters website.
Get to my controls and turn them both on.
The app is so impressive.
Go to channel 503, and I just want to hear Jim.
Yeah.
I want to hear Ian Baker Finch.
I'm with you.
I want to hear all those guys.
I'm with you.
You talk about Jim. So we got a message this week from James who said, I love Jim Nance, but I reckon he is showing his age. And this is not to the commentary. I think that is enormously harsh. Jim is a guru. He is a legend.
Jim Nance does. Is he still doing?
Does the football?
He does the
NFL.
footy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
he wants to finish. He wants to get to a certain number of Masters. I can't remember how many. It might be either 40 or 50 Masters, and he's getting close to it. And then he's going to say, "Right, I'm done."
Right. Yeah. Do you know who his college roommate was at Houston? Fred Couples.
Freddie.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yep.
How about that? You got one bloke who goes on to win the Masters, and the other bloke commentates at it 40 or 50 times.
Well, I think the way they do, so past champions of Augusta, so you've got like Bernard Langer.
Yep.
I
Last year, this year.
This is his last year.
Yep.
Freddie's going to be close in the next few years, and Jim Nance was saying this is going to be really a tough one for me, because I think he usually does some sort of a segment on it, and he speaks to them and interviews them and things like that. So he's going to get him in there. With Langer, he'll be fine. He'll be able to do it. But he said with Freddie, it's going to be a tough one to get through.
Well, wouldn't it be poetic if those two went out together? You know, Fred 60 whatever. When did he win? 1992, when the golf ball stayed on the
bank of 12.
On the bank of 12. How that happened, I've got no idea.
Yeah.
We've never seen that ever before. Actually, the year I watched back Adam Scott a little bit, because the Masters channel's up and going at the moment. Even his ball, where it sat on 13, he hit this shot and it didn't quite get across. It fell off, and it was halfway down the bank, chipped and putted for a birdie. That could have been, something very different if it goes into the water and it's unplayable down there.
That creek on 13 has provided so much drama, because if you hit the bank, it may shoot across the other side and stay dry. Other times it may just get caught next to a rock. Other times it's in the drink.
How did you go on that hole? Because,
I wasn't.
Well, you would have been further back than some of these guys who could sling it around the corner.
Yeah,
right.
Lowest club I think I ever hit in there might have been a hybrid or something like that.
Right.
I mean,
so what's it like trying to hit that shot for you when the ball's about a foot below your feet?
Yeah, ball's foot below. I've got to hit a draw off that lie for me as a left-hander, because the green shapes left to right, but the ball wants to go left on you. I always found the easiest way to play that hole, again, you stand on the tee and you go, where's the pin?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the easiest way. And what I used to do was, if the pin's back right, my second shot, I would try and get as far up the right as I possibly can,
Far up the right.
Up the
if
right.
the pin was on the right.
On the back right, and then it's just a pitch straight up the green. Okay. From across the creek. You know, if I'm not getting there.
Did you have a backboard there if it was pin's back right?
No, nothing behind it. But the closer, it's such a hard shot from further back because you got to land it on like a 2-cent piece pretty much. Whereas if you're chipping and running, you can at least control that a bit better. The right-hand pin, again, I'd lay it up more to the left and short of the creek. And then the left-hand pin, you just want a full shot in to be able to spin it and back. And that left-hand pin, if it was there, that was the one I'd probably go at the green in too if I had a chance.
Right. There was a time there where left-handers were taking over at Augusta.
Yeah.
Because Phil won it how many times? A couple of times. Yeah, Bubba watching it, winning it 2 times as well. Our Canadian friend Mike Weir, he had a Masters win also. There was when you look back, why does it favour? Does it favour lefties?
It suits lefties slightly more than right-handers. And
isn't that funny?
For a couple of reasons. And when I say lefties, I mean long-hitting lefties.
Yeah.
Now, Mike Weir was a bit of an anomaly that year. He putted the dots off the ball.
Yeah.
He holed everything. When my second year there, I think I finished 19th or something. That was probably my best result. And I played really good.
Yeah.
It's just a hard golf course for a short-hitting lefty. A long-hitting lefty, much easier. Now, the reason being is the holes like where you need to shape it right to left off the tee. You want to hit big, high cuts. Very easy for a lefty to do.
Yeah. Like 10,
13,
14.
What else we
What
got?
shape do you hit down 15?
10. 2's a little bit the same. 15, it's pretty
9.
fairly straight shot. 9, another one. Now, the par 3s, as I've sort of mentioned before, like 12 is the hardest hole for a right-hander.
Yeah.
Almost the easiest hole on the golf course for a lefty.
Yeah. Explain to people why if there's...
So the way the green sits at you, it basically angles from front left to back right. So say I've got an 8-iron into the green, I would aim middle of the green, and if I pull it, I'm long right, I'm still on the green. If I push it, I'm going to be short left. That's just the way the ball goes when you're a left-hander.
That's right.
So I'm on the green. So I really miss that green. For right-handers, if they push it, they're short right, water. Long left if they pull it. So they're almost dead in those back bunkers. So it's such a hard hole. But then 16 was a bit of the opposite for me as well. So...
and that's where good caddies come in too, folks.
Yeah.
If you don't know, if you pull a shot, it's less loft on the club and they always go further. If you push a shot, there is more loft on the club and they always go shorter. And if you've got a good caddy and there was a pin, let's say you're a right-hander, the pin's back left and the deepest bunker in the whole world is back left again, then your pull will go into the biggest bunker in the whole world. So a good caddy will have that in play and understand that. And you'll probably select a club where it won't just go to the pin high. It might try and be 10 foot short. So in case you do pull it, there's half a chance, maybe a slight chance that it doesn't go in that back trap left. That's the deepest bunker on the golf course. Yeah. That sort of stuff comes into play.
Very much so, very much so. And look, Brian Harmon just won Valero Texas Open or whatever. He's actually not my left-hander that I want to pick for it because there's another lefty I'm really thinking of as a bit of a dark horse this week at the Masters.
We'll save it.
I will save it now.
Save it for the
But
Masters.
Harmon is part of my top 5 because, my gosh, he's hard to watch.
Oh, wow.
He's really hard to watch. So
it's another reason I didn't watch much of it this week.
We'll do that after the turn.
And it's wrong because when he finally actually hits the ball, it's a beautiful action. I mean, it's just...
And he's a great putter.
Yeah. I mean, he's got power. He should be very watchable.
He should be.
But he's not.
And he looks like Ricky Ponting, so, you know.
I know. There's an Australian link. There's a whole bunch of reasons why...
we had 2 wins. We had Ricky and we had Leish.
Hey, I want to bring something up. I know we're coming close to the turn in a tick, but I was sent this text message, and it's about... I'm not going to say who sent it to me.
Okay.
But Waddy, hello.
This would be good.
All right. Well, I'm not going to use his first name. He goes, I've got a good topic for your podcast. The exorbitant prices many clubs are now charging players to play golf at members' courses. And he's talking about members' guest fees.
Okay.
They are skyrocketing. I'd like to know why. Is it because the sport has become so popular or people will pay whatever to get on the good clubs or are clubs trying to stop members being guests and bringing guests along, which is a couple of things. He says here it was $110 plus $5 for the comp at a hilly golf course in Melbourne.
Okay.
All right, I'm not going to put the courses in.
Well, I'm not going to.
I'll show you what course it is. You got your glasses on, Nick?
Oh, okay. Yep, got that one.
All right.
Okay.
So $110 to play that golf course.
Right.
Plus $5 to go in the comp. Now, seriously, don't worry about the $5. All right. If you pay the members fee, guest fee to get on the course, let's not slug another $5 to go in the comp that everybody's going in. Just make it $115, or just be really good natured and let them off the $5 to go in the club comp. For goodness sakes, why are they paying?
Well, there are other clubs, more prestigious clubs than that
Yes.
one, and it's close to double, I would say, for a member's guest to come along and play. Now, if you invite 3 guests, that gets really expensive, doesn't it?
That's right.
So
no, I invited 3 guests not long ago, and it was expensive. It was expensive.
Yeah.
But that's my choice. So
True.
if you know it, but there are people out there who would love to play other courses other than the one that they play every single Wednesday or every Saturday when they get an invitation. And it's got to a point now where if you brought guests, I always felt it was the right thing to do was you're my guest.
Yeah.
So I would pay because you're my guest.
You're inviting them.
I would probably even pay for lunch.
Right.
Because
what a host this guy is.
Because you're my guest.
He did bring a coffee in this morning, but he didn't.
But see, this is the whole point. I would expect that back.
Reciprocate.
I would expect that back if I was ever invited to their golf course. So it works, right? Mm-hmm. That's right. A bit like me when I bought 15 coffees for you blokes and it never came back in my direction. Mate, and then you both start asking questions about why I only bought 1 coffee in this morning.
Hang on, I didn't realise you had such a tight ass on the team here, Nick.
I think it was about twice maybe the coffee. So anyway. Mark, I'm going to bring you a coffee next week, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Cappuccino, large, regular milk. Now, so I reckon, I think one of the things that's going to happen is a lot of people won't bring guests anymore, because if they're like-minded, it's going to cost you $500.
Yeah, very true.
Bring a few guests along.
I think there's probably a few different points to what your friend was saying, where maybe the clubs are going, look, we want our members given first priority. Are they getting too many guests at clubs? Maybe that's why they put the prices up to sort of put them off a little bit. At the same time, it's here in Melbourne, for example, the golf courses here are unbelievable. And if you said that price to an American visitor, for example, and I know what the international rates are at some of these clubs, and it's whoa. Yeah. But they're still paying them because they know how good the golf courses are. So it depends how you want to look at it. Well, and I also know some golf courses have put a limit on how many guests you can bring along, which, thank you, it's not a bad thing because of what the prices are getting to probably at the moment. But are they trying, I see it as a reasonable strategy if you're trying to reduce the rounds at your golf course. Mm-hmm. It's going to work. Sure.
It'll work. Yep. But it's just something to be mindful of. Maybe not at the elite golf courses, but some of these other golf courses, like I said, the golf course I showed you, it's a fabulous place to play golf. Mm-hmm. It's a ripper. But $110 plus the comp fee, if you're a member's guest, that seems extreme to me.
A little high, I would say. Yeah, I've actually never played there, so I don't.
Haven't you?
No, I haven't. No.
Well, you'd love it.
Oh,
you'd love it.
Who's a member that could invite me?
Well, look, if you're a member at a very hilly golf club in Melbourne, where they play a big Easter tournament.
Oh. Thank you.
Maybe you can invite Nick O'Hearn. Anyway, let us know what your member guest fees are at your golf club right around the country, and send them through to the socials. Dan, you can look after that. Maybe we'll have a look at some of these member guest fees next week. I know some of the international fees. Like there is one course in Melbourne. It's just been redesigned by Ogilvy, Cocking and Mead, OCM. They've got 2 courses out there. Mm-hmm. I try not to say Peninsula Kingswood, but I've got to drop it at some stage.
He's going there anyway.
It's $1,100 for an international
to
come and play.
Wow.
$1,100.
Gosh. Yeah. Okay.
It's worth it.
Well,
it's a bloody good course.
Yeah.
I
nice
absolutely
revenue
love it.
for the club.
Righto. Sayonara from the 9th green. We'll see you on the 10th tee.
How does the best get better? With more speed off the tee. More control with your irons. More spin with your wedges. Introducing the all-new Pro V1 and Pro V1X.
Pay less for golf's biggest brands with 8 national store locations and free online shipping. TaylorMade Stealth 2 driver, $398. Wilson's Smart Core golf balls, $14 per dozen. Adidas Traxian golf shoes, $67. Callaway Jaws MD5 wedges, $148. All the biggest brands. TaylorMade, Titleist, FootJoy, Callaway and much more. Shop in-store with 8 national stores or shop online with golfclearanceoutlet.com.au.
We're live from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. We all know the number one ball in golf is Titleist and the number one shoe and glove in golf is FootJoy. We're here thanks to the Golf Clearance Outlet. They beat everyone's prices. Ping will always help you play your best. Turn your bogeys into birdies with the Watch My Numbers app. And Better, the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. That's better. Now, back to Talk Birdie to Me. Here's Nick and Mark.
So you might be wondering why on earth, if you're watching on YouTube, why we're sitting in front of all these beautiful FootJoy shoes, Nicholas. Do you know why?
Go on, tell me.
Well, because later in the week we are doing a FootJoy special.
Okay.
And see this big shoe here, the Hyperflex?
Yes.
JT has moved to the Hyperflex. Now, I'm just going to leave you with something, all right, just a little bit, but you've got to watch out for the FootJoy special. You talk about doing a driver fit and a ball fit.
Yeah.
JT did a shoe fit.
Okay.
And he put on club head speed.
What?
Using the Hyperflex. That's all I'm going to say.
No way.
That is ridiculous.
Tell you the truth.
Wow.
And there was another player who went the other way, who tried the premium shoes up there.
Okay.
These ones, the Premier.
Yeah.
These, can you see the Premier? I'll bring it in. There it is. Another player who wore Hyperflex or something like it, changed to the Premier, this one in particular, and more club head speed.
Really?
So, anyway.
Interesting.
Look out for the FootJoy special. Look out for the Masters special. There's a whole bunch of specials coming
So
out.
I've always gone for the comfort, but apparently the performance as
Well,
well.
if
So
you
there you
want
go.
to, maybe
All right.
if you want to eke out a couple extra miles per hour ball speed, you better see what you're doing on your feet. So
Okay.
a big thank you to Titleist and FootJoy. This room is just superb. We've got to give people a tour of this room at some stage.
we will.
The brand experience room. We've got to do that because it's great fun being in here.
That is a great idea. We should definitely do that.
Anyway.
Now, thanks to Southern Golf Club, let's do the top 5.
Top 5, top 5, top 5.
The Talk Birdie to Me Top 5, thanks to Southern Golf Club.
Top 5, top 5, top 5.
Is it a top 5 or are you doing something else? Because we can change the name of it if you like, Nick. when you do yours, it's your turn. We can always change it. Dan can do another, top 6 or top 7, whatever you want. Whatever you want, mate.
Oh dear! All that I know is the toasted sandwiches at the Southern Golf Club are some of the best.
Aren't
they
how
good?
good are they?
How good are they?
They are so good.
Yeah. Anyway,
The chicken avocado toasted sandwich at Southern. Wow.
Is there anything better than on a winter's day having a toasted
No,
sandwich?
there's nothing better, Dan.
and a coffee too.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't had one
mention
yet.
the war.
We have not had a coffee yet.
Oh dear. Okay,
I'm sure you got a few.
Anyway, my top 5, it's always topical as to what's going on when you're watching tournaments and you see someone do something. Well, Brian Harmon, he was pretty tough to watch.
He's hard to watch.
Yeah, my top 5 hardest players to watch on tour.
Current or are you going back in time? Or
They're all currently playing on tour.
Right.
However, a couple of them are a little, that they used to be. And now they're better.
So, but they're still tainted.
But they were still,
They're still tainted from what they used to do.
Yeah. And funnily enough, in 5th, there's a tie.
Oh, come on. Jeez. What are you doing, mate?
I had to do it. I had to do it. I'm sorry.
Week after week.
If you remember the Sergio regrips,
Yeah,
26,
milking the
27,
grips.
28, the US Open, I think at,
What a psycho.
where was the course? Bethpage. Yeah, that happened. So him and also Charlie Hull on the LPGA, she was really hard to watch, spent so long over the ball. But both of those players are obviously sped up. So I'm just putting them up at top Tied for 5th at the moment.
Can I give you a little bit of credit where credit's due here? And he doesn't get much credit on this program, but Mike Clayton fixed Sergio Garcia's milking of clubs.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
because he would waggle looking down.
Oh, yes.
And then he'd look up to see where the ball was, or where the target was. And then he'd get the target, and then he'd come down and he'd waggle.
Right.
And then he'd waggled so much he forgot where the target was, so he'd have to look up again. So it was
he reversed
Clayton's idea to, when you're waggling, to look at the target and then
pause.
fixed it overnight.
Wow. There you go.
Anyway,
Well done,
that's the only
Clates.
credit Mike Clayton will get on this program.
Okay, number 4, one of your favourite players, Keegan Bradley.
Yeah, hard to watch.
Hard to watch.
Painful.
Because he walks in, he walks out. He walks in, he walks out. He twirls the club. He has a spit to the side every now and then.
Sometimes the TV will go on and you'll think, oh, thank God he's over the ball.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
No.
And then he jumps back.
Yeah. It was a bit like Jim Furyk putting for a while there. You know? Remember Jim used to walk in, then walk back out.
Yeah.
So my number 4. Number 3, a promising young star. Has done so well on the President's Cups teams.
You're going to go a young bloke.
Tom Kim.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, over the ball, he's brutal. It's just like, dude, hit it, please. Because he spends a long time over that ball. Yeah. Number 2.
Yeah.
Someone who I commented on a few weeks back, created a bit of controversy for number 1, his caddy, but also for number 2, how long he spends over the ball and how many looks at the target, Mr. Rory McIlroy.
Yeah.
He's still doing it, taking 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, sometimes 12 looks up at the target. It will be fascinating to see at the Masters this coming week because, look, he's playing some of the best golf in the world at the moment. You know, there's no discussion about that. Him and Scheffler are the 2 favourites in my mind. But when it comes to crunch time, if they are there, watch and have a look and then see the conversations between him and his caddy. Now, if he wins by 5, well, I stand corrected.
No.
However,
he would have won by 10 if he did what you want.
Very true. But just check out how many looks, first few days, whatever, it doesn't matter. But watch him on the range as well because the great thing about the Masters is
I was just about to say this.
They show players warming up on the range. On the range, he'll take 2 looks and hit. And you think, why doesn't he do that normally?
That's right.
So,
if you don't have the Masters app, make sure you get it.
Yeah.
Because not only will you be able to watch your favourite player warming up, which is just next level stuff, you will get to see the data that they are.
Yes.
There's a TrackMan behind
got
every
the tracer,
player.
they've got the numbers.
tracer. So if you want to watch, if Tiger was playing, you wanted to see how he was looking, or if you want to put some money on someone like Ludwig Aberg, for instance, me, I'll be checking. I'll be watching him warm up.
Have we done top 5 driving ranges in the world? Because that should be.
No, that should be yours. Because you've seen more
I've
than
seen
me.
a few, but I think hands down, I haven't been to the new one at Augusta. The old one was just a normal range.
I've been to the
but
new
this
one,
looks
and it is
insane.
Disneyland for golfers.
Fantastic.
It's unbelievable. It's actually got, you think of a big Easter bunny rabbit with the big ears like this. Right, they've got those ears on the range, so
fairways.
You can draw. Yeah, they've got little fairways.
Yeah.
So there's a fairway where you can draw around the corner, and there's a fairway where you can fade around the. They've thought of everything.
Some of my favourite ranges came about by accident on tour where they didn't have enough room, so then they've used, because it's a 36-hole facility, they've used 2 holes of the other course. So then you can shape it around the trees and things like that. It was a brilliant way of doing it. So very good.
Have you got one more to go?
I've got number 1.
Just one or
just
two?
number 1.
Right.
Well, he won at the Texas Open. Brian Harmon over the ball. Look, the head's going fast. The club's going fast. I don't know how many times he does it. He's an Open champion.
I couldn't watch him.
So give him credit for that. And he did win in tough conditions again. So
Is
but
it
he's my number 1 hardest player to watch.
Is it his first win?
And he's a lefty, so usually I like watching them. But
that's his first win since the Open, wasn't it?
First win since the Open, yeah. That's with this week's top 5.
Well, let's hope there's not too many more because he's hard to watch.
Or top 6.
Top 5, yeah. I was going to say top 5, top 6.
Well,
maybe
it's a top 6, Dan. Just change the intro for him, mate. Let's get it over and done with.
All right, we'll get that sorted. All right, some feedback, boys. And there's been a fair bit this week, as you might imagine. We can't go through it all, clearly. But there's also a couple of whacks for a couple of young men on this podcast.
Oh,
okay.
Good.
Who could they be?
Young men.
Good. It must be you, Dan.
All righty. This one here. This is on Aim Point, so lots of feedback on Aim Point.
Yep. Okay.
Gibbo7. I agree with your position on caddies, but we're going to have to disagree on the lines. Your premise assumes the player has set up on the correct line. That is a recipe for failure, not for success. I do love the pod, gents.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we're definitely, we both said it should be outlawed tomorrow for caddies.
Yeah.
To see a caddy go up there and stand close to the hole when there are other players still to go, that to me is the biggest etiquette fail I've ever seen.
Yeah, and it's become obviously more prevalent. Did aim point come around once you could tap down spike marks on the line? Because before you weren't allowed to stand on your line, right? So I know they're straddling the line, but when they're straddling the line and other players have also got putts, I'm not sure how it all works. So anyway, but lines on ball.
When I finished up
those,
at the end of 2003, you weren't allowed to touch spike marks. And these days, I might play in 2 tournaments a year these days. Tapping down the spike marks is the greatest rule that's ever happened in golf.
It has, but you don't want to be a tapper like a Xander who just become a habit.
You can't tap a track to the hole.
It seems to be what can be happening a little. So.
Some players, they are in danger of the rest of us looking at them going, what the hell are you doing, mate?
But the other point, what was the gentleman's name, sorry?
Gibbo.
Gibbo. The other point Gibbo made was the lines on the ball. It's a prerequisite for where they're aiming, and that assumes they're aiming correctly. But again, you're using it as an aid. Yeah. So I don't agree with all that, with the lining up the ball and having lines on the ball, and then one for the putter face. So now the putter face is square to that line. So, I mean, come on, it's a skill.
Yeah.
Now, this is, again, at the pro level, amateurs have at it. So bifurcate the rules.
I agree. Although the line on the ball for amateurs, I think...
That's very helpful.
It's very helpful, but it's very time-consuming.
Yes.
And we don't want rounds of golf lasting over 4.5 hours. That's the top end. Preferably, we want 4-hour rounds of golf, and if you're first or second off, 3.5 hours.
Well, then you become a Keegan person too, because you walk back in, you walk back. You're trying to get that line right.
It's annoying.
Okay, message here from Green Distant Star. Can you explain to me, please, Nick and Mark, why a caddy doing aim point is considered cheating? To the best of my understanding, players have been marking their balls since forever. Having manufacturers do it for you as convenience, how is that any different? Love the pod.
It's cheating the game of golf. So, like I said a little bit earlier, it's the biggest etiquette fail in the game. So when we say it's cheating, I think what we both meant at the time was it's an etiquette fail. It's not cheating, but it cheats the game of golf and what we're all about. I mean, etiquette is in the background of everything we do in golf, or it should be at the very least. And seeing a caddy straddle lines close to the hole when there are other players who are yet to putt, it's not on.
Yeah, no, I agree on the etiquette part. Golf's the only game that you can call penalty on yourself, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
From
quite
what I
often
remember.
happens.
I like this comment here. This is from Pengy, and this is a bit of fun. Get over it, boys. It's just different to what you did. You're carrying on like grandpas.
That's right. And we're not going to stop.
No, exactly.
We're
just
not
an
stopping.
opinion.
Yeah.
Sorry, Pengy.
Good luck. I hope your aim point goes well.
Yep.
Karen, what a load of crap. If it's that easy, why don't you try one putting a whole round?
Good on you, Kaz.
Very good.
Karen's an aim pointer by the sound.
I'd say, and a line user. Aim point
and a line user. She's probably got a long putter too. She's and she anchors. She's got a full house.
Oh, it's very funny.
I love it.
And this one here, and unfortunately I didn't write the name down for this person, so apologies to this person. Really, get rid of the lines. I use the T line on my Titleist Tour Soft mainly for feet alignment in putting and sometimes driver. As long as you're quick about it, that's okay.
For feet alignment?
The game is hard enough for us as it is when we're an amateur.
She said feet alignment?
Feet aligning, yes, so you can get the parallel. Hey, as I've said, amateurs, no problem at all. That is fine. I'm talking at the professional level where they should be able to line themselves up. They do it for a living, okay? So amateurs, no problem at all. I have no issue with it. I know you're a little bit, with the time-consuming part.
Well, yes. I think it's one of the headaches why people don't play golf.
Yeah. I'm just talking about, like with amateurs, I think they should be able to anchor the long putt.
Yes, me too.
Absolutely. Pros, no.
Yep.
Okay. We had a video last week from Daniel who sent a video of his swing and his daughter's swing in.
Yes.
And he didn't mention his daughter's name then, but he has mentioned here. Really appreciate this, boys. I was out and had Cordy, who is his daughter, out practicing tonight as well, which is lovely.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Did it help?
Well, he didn't say that.
Well, that's the whole reason.
Well, okay.
Come on, mate.
Okay. Well, what, are you having a crack at Daniel?
Well, it's only been a week.
Well,
so.
I assume because he sent in that he was happy about it.
We'd love to see the before and after.
Yeah, I want to see before and after. Yes.
That'd be nice.
Okay, well, that'd be
the
good.
hands together and a wider stance and a shorter swing, hopefully, for Cordy.
Do you know what would have helped?
What's that?
If you'd bought him a cup of coffee.
Listen, mate, I bought you both coffees weeks and weeks in a row, and then how long can I keep going?
Weeks and
At
weeks.
some stage. At
geez.
some stage, it has to reciprocate.
A little violin here. Willow has said, "Hey guys, I got the close your ears, yips. About 10 years ago.
Okay.
The only way I beat it was counting. Start on 1, complete backspin on 2, hit on 3. Don't look up until you count 4. It takes all the anxiety out of the strike, and it got rid of them for me."
Beautiful.
It's a great practice technique, even if you don't have the yips doing that.
Very much so.
If you don't have the yips and you want to keep your head still, which I love, and will propel you to great heights in the world of putting, that particular drill is a belter.
Yep. Cal Nagel, one of the greatest putters of all time, used to count to 5. That's what he used to do.
Yeah. What was he doing?
So what he did was he'd put the putter head in front of the ball 1, behind the ball 2, look at the hole 3, back to the ball 4, start the stroke 5. That's what he did on every putt. Now I shorten that to 3 myself in my book and stuff like that I've done, and I love the counting method. It really gets rid of a lot of. Well, the other thing it does is it gives you great rhythm. Number 1,
yes,
and you're not worried about the hole anymore. You're thinking about counting.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden your mind is being tricked into something which will help you putt well, rather than not wanting to miss it.
And something is always happening. The second you are a statue is the second that you have time to think about not pulling it left or don't leave it short or whatever the stupid thought is. You know, if you're counting or if you've got a routine and you concentrate on your routine, it kind of keeps the bad thoughts at bay.
Now, Mark, you were talking about feedback and how you would like some more detailed feedback. This is one you're going to love.
Oh, okay.
This is from Salsgram regarding your masterclass on putting like a pro.
Yes.
Salsgram said, "Mark, I tried this today and I had 27 putts. I normally do between 32 and 35. Love it. Thank you so much."
It's a pleasure. And honestly, not many people pick it up straight away. Normally keeping your head down and just when you keep your head down, it doesn't mean you don't try to get the ball started on the track. So you should see a sort of a line. That's very important. There's got to be a bit of a sporting ability to starting the ball on line, even though your hands aren't doing much. So you can still kind of see where the ball starts, but don't look much further. And for a lot of people, like I said, putting blind, because that's what it feels like if you've always been a watcher of the golf ball, it does feel like you're putting blind. And that takes a little while to get used to. So it's unusual that somebody does it and does well straight away, but maybe your sporting prowess is better than most.
Well, that's fantastic. Good news. On your Sevi Top 5 from last week, which was the one we played lots of clips of Sevi doing some pretty amazing stuff. This is from Perico. 1988 USPGA in Edmond, Oklahoma. I was 10 years old. The practice green was elevated about 4 to 5 feet above the ground. Sevi was my idol. I walked up to Sevi. I was about 10 feet away. I looked up at him. He had a bucket hat on. I couldn't speak, but after about 10 minutes, I got the courage up and I said, "Mr. Bostera, sir, you are the best in the world."
What did he say?
He looked at me, then at his ball. Then he looked deep into my eyes and he said, "You are correct, young man."
And one day you too be a champion like me. Eh?
Champion. Yeah,
That is fantastic, isn't it?
Hey, by the way, Sevi Ballesteros, the only human who made bucket hats look cool.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, well, no one else.
No,
Maybe
no.
Jack. Jack looked good in the bucket hat
Jack
when
had
he
a
was
bucket
young.
hat?
Yeah, young. When he was young,
What
when
about
the
Joe
US Opens.
Highsmith, who won...
When they called him Ohio Fats.
yes.
Yeah,
That's right.
he'd wear a bucket hat from time to time.
Last bit of feedback here, guys. This is from Tom, who sent a video of his swing in, and he would like to get some input from you guys on his swing.
Love it.
Are you ready to have a look at that and give us some observations?
Let's have a look at Tom.
Absolutely.
All righty, here we go.
Well, Tom,
Oh, no.
he's got the practice swing next to the ball.
What are you doing, Tom?
And
Swing's not too bad.
swing's good. No, I don't mind the swing. The alignment's way out, though. He's aiming way right because the green, I think, is over towards the bunkers on the far left now for our audio listener. Oh, he's just given it
He's hit a
the...
good shot. He's hit a good shot.
He's given it the punch in the air. It was obviously hit the green. So a couple of things there for Tom would be... alignment, number one. Now, the reason the alignment is out to the right is probably because he's having the practice swing next to the ball. We've spoken about this before. If you want to look like a pro, you've got to have your practice swing behind the ball.
Correct way.
And then walk in from there because it's much easier to line up from there. Now, there are...
And also the practice swing parallel with where you're going.
Exactly. Down the line, not across the line. Not looking down there going this way and swinging towards your playing partners because they can freak out a little bit
that's right.
swinging a club towards them. So down the line where you're going.
Correct.
There are anomalies to this, like Lauren Coughlin, who lost in the match play final.
Yes.
She actually had a practice swing next to the ball and then walked in. So
one other Australian player who won a PGA in
Elkington.
Yeah,
well, it was a mini practice swing, that one. It was more of a...
Still, that's what he
still
did.
walked in from... Yeah, okay. So there are, cases where it's not the case, but they practice, thousands of hours every month or whatever. They are very gifted. So in that sense, Tom, practice swing behind the ball, walk in. The swing looked pretty good. It was a little long. I'd say, if anything, he stops turning about halfway back and the arms just keep going up.
Yes.
So the old wood cover under the left arm would be a good one, or a glove under the left arm, just to keep everything, the body and the chest and the arms in sync a bit more.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he aims right all the time because there was a little right-hand yoink at the bottom,
at the
kind
end.
of yoinking it back on track.
Yep.
So I'm with you. I think the cover under the arms...
But the alignment will fix a little bit of this as well because... He's going to feel as though he's going to be aiming way left, so then he won't give it the old, flip over because then he'll go, I better hold on to this a bit more, and that should fix that anyway.
My golf coach at Texas Tech, he wasn't a very good golf coach. He was hopeless.
Okay.
He was hopeless, but
Well, a lot of those college coaches, by the way, are more managers of people.
Yeah, that's right.
They're not swing coaches a lot.
Yeah, this bloke wasn't any good at that either. But anyway, what he would do from time to time, I give him credit for two things, is that if somebody was struggling with their alignment, in qualifyings, he would let them put a club down next to the ball. And it was ridiculous to see these guys who obviously could play a little bit, but weren't scoring very well. When they were allowed to put a club down, they qualified for the next week.
Well, this is what I'm talking about with the line on the ball.
Yeah, so it was kind of his way of balancing, getting more kids into the team because there was only two in our team. There was a bloke called Mike Winfrey and myself. And we were exempt for every tournament. Yeah. And then everybody else were qualifying for spots. And it was a way of him evening it up. But it was crazy to see, there was a guy, I'll use this name. His name was Randy Fink. There's an American name for you.
Terrible name.
There you go.
Randy Fink.
Terrible name.
Look him up on LinkedIn. I think he's like a banker, one of the biggest bankers in America these days, Randy Fink.
Yep.
Anyway, Randy Fink, every once in a while, he was allowed to put a club down. And Randy went from shooting 76s and 7s to shooting 71s and 72s, just from being able to put. So spotlighting and alignment, it's such a big deal, folks.
It is huge. And I actually know Tom Naramore, so shout out to him. He's a buddy of mine in the US. So good to see the pod is also getting out to America as well.
What part of America was he?
He's in California. Northern California.
Yeah. Hang on a second. We're missing something here.
Oh.
I haven't heard the trumpet from last week.
Oh, sorry.
I haven't heard the trumpet.
Yeah,
so can
that's
we?
Correct.
I have forgotten.
We're not jumping over because I want to hear the trumpet.
I have forgotten about the...
Because I'm dying to hear it this week.
Are you ready to hear what we've done? Here we go.
Okay.
Is that the trumpet? That's not the trumpet I know. No, you're kidding.
There you go. That's one that Nick O'Hearn made.
Oh, that's the Nick O'Hearn one. Yeah, I didn't mind it.
On your Suno app.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's pretty good.
What do you think? I mean, we're giving it a little trial. It's got a bit of jazzy swing to it.
Nothing will ever replace Timmy Trumpet.
I
as far as I'm concerned.
I agree.
But if that's our closest thing, then that's our closest thing.
At Woodlands, he can't play the Timmy Trumpet, can he?
Why not?
Well, because of copyright issues.
He can.
He can play it.
He can absolutely play it. He was
We
great.
just can't have it as our theme
Why not?
song.
Mark, we're not going to go through.
Surely, like for instance,
you're going to pay the fines. Is that right?
If our intro was like the last post, surely no one's got something on the last post, and surely it's the same as the Timmy Trumpet music. It should be able to play it.
It's not how it works. It's not how it works, and I reckon you need to drop it and move on.
I'm never going to drop it.
All right,
okay.
Ping will help you play your best. Nick O'Hearn, the Ping Global Results.
Absolutely. I'm even going to put my Ping hat on for this one, just to rub you.
No, that's all right. You look good in that hat.
Thank you. It matches the shirt too.
Your FootJoy
shirt. It's perfect. PGA Tour this week was the Valexis the Valero Texas Open, TPC San Antonio. Do you know, this was the golf course that Kevin Na had a 16 on. Do you remember?
Yeah.
He had 16 on the ninth
Got
hole.
in the trees and couldn't get out.
It was crazy. Yeah.
By the way, you know the 16th hole, it was kind of their party hole, and they've got a bunker in the middle of
Tony
that.
Finau had a hole in one.
Yeah, that's right. I saw it. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And how about the 2 shots before that? Justin Rose and somebody else stiffed them as well. But they kept on, they have this thing in TV commentary called the beauty shot. Mm-hmm. Right? The beauty shot for this week is one of the reasons I tuned off as well. They showed the dam that was not even close to the hole. Oh, no. And the dam wall...
Is that when they put the scores up or something? Overlay?
The damn wall, like it wasn't grassed properly.
Oh, dear.
You couldn't see the green. It was the most ugly beauty shot in the history of TV. It was so bad.
The top 5 worst beauty shots. Yeah. that could be something as well.
That's number 1.
Oh, wow.
That
Anyway,
was number 1.
The 2023 British Open champion Brian Harman had a 3-shot win over Ryan Gerard. And
who's Ryan Gerard?
Exactly. I'm not sure who Ryan is. But tied third was Mav McNeely, who's playing some really good golf at the moment. Andrew Novak had a real chance towards the end, but went bogey finish. And his body language was possibly some of the worst I've seen throughout a round of golf. Not a real happy camper on the golf course. But anyway, it's the 4th win for Brian Harman. We only had a couple of Australasians playing, Ryan Fox and Aaron Badley, who unfortunately both missed the cut. Live Miami was at Doral, firm windy conditions. As we said earlier, Marc Leishman shot a bogey-free round 68 for a 6-under total. He held that 13-foot putt on the last hole for the win over Charles Schwartzel and Sergio Garcia in 3rd place. Ripper shot 5-under on the final round. 5-under in those conditions for all the players. Obviously, Leish carried him. But they finished 4 over for the week for an 8-shot win. Shows you how tough the golf course was playing, though. 4 over for the team.
There was some weather going across, wasn't there?
There was.
That's why I think Monday at Augusta, they were very worried. In fact, they didn't let patrons in for quite some time on the Monday.
That's very true.
Yeah, so the weather's bad.
But they won from the Crushers, and then in 3rd was 4 aces. The Majestics are setting a little bit of a record at the moment for most last finishes in a row.
They're the worst team in the history of golf. I mean, they come last every week.
Yeah, the Majestics are really struggling. That's their 3rd last finish, and they need to lift their game. Ian Poulter, Westwood, Stenson, and Horsfield. So
it's one of the knocks on Liv. You keep on finishing last. There's no cutthroat.
They're getting paid well though, so
that's
there
right.
you go. Anyway, but it was a great win by Leish and the Aussies. Cam Smith tied 9th. That was his best finish this season in 5 events. So he's gearing up for the Masters. Yep. Lucas Herbert tied for 18th and Matt Jones tied for 21st. The LPGA match play, as we mentioned at Shadow Creek, wasn't the prettiest golf, but Madeline Sagstrom defeated Lauren Coughlin. 1 up, a lot of golf for her. The best of the Aussies was Steph Kyriakou, who got to the quarterfinal. She unfortunately got beaten by Coughlin 2-1, so she played some really good golf there. Ladies European Tour, they had the Joburg Open, where English woman Mimi Rhodes had a 1-shot win over South African Cassandra Alexander, and that is back-to-back wins for Mimi Rhodes, because she won, I think it was the New South Wales Open here the other week.
Yeah,
in Wollongong,
In Wollongong, correct, yeah. So 2 in a row for Mimi. She's going really well. Kelsey Bennett tied for 8th, so a solid finish there for Kelsey over in South Africa. Corn Ferry Tour, they were in Savannah, Georgia, where Frenchman Jeremy Gandon won on the first playoff hole against Rick Lamb. Best of the Australasians, Harry Hillier, tied for 8th. He's playing well over there, Harry.
Yeah.
Doing really well. Champions Tour, this is a great name. The James Hardy Pro Football Hall of Fame Invitational.
That is a great name.
In Boca Raton, Florida. Yep. So there you go.
Almost as good as the Booz Allen Classic.
And I think the winner of this is scaring this week's tournament a little bit, because Angel Cabrera, who got out of jail 20 months ago, has his first win. It's his first win since about 10 years ago, I think it was. But first win on the Champions Tour, had a 2-shot win over KJ Choi. So he's obviously a changed man, he says, after experiencing jail. It's not a place he wanted to be for very long.
Well, we're lucky we live somewhere where people get a second chance, even though what he did was pretty rotten.
You know what he was,
gets a second chance.
going into this tournament?
What's that?
Remember last week, Steve Allen got in because Steve Stricker withdrew. He was first alternate. This week, Angel Cabrera was second alternate and got in because Mark Hensby withdrew.
You're kidding me.
So it's 2 weeks in a row that alternates have won the tournament. That's got to be a record of some sort.
Just shows you.
Impressive.
Just shows you a lot of hungry senior golfers out there who are desperate to play well.
Yeah, indeed. So good signs for Cabrera going into the Masters this week. Best of the Aussies was David Branston and Greg Chalmers tied for 7th and Michael Wright tied for 12th. So
I
solid
love that
weeks.
David Branston's over there playing golf.
That's great.
He's a good fella and a good player, has been for a long, long time. And to see him finally, really get a position in American golf
I know.
is just great.
Very impressive.
Good on him.
And finally, at the ANWA, the Augusta National Women's Amateur, Spanish lady Carla Bernat Escuder, I think that's how you say it, shot exactly 3 rounds. You have no idea, do you? Shot 3 rounds of 68. First time ever in the ANWA. Someone's shot 3 rounds in the 60s.
Oh, wow.
368s, that's impressive. For a one-shot win over Asterix Talley, who's a 16-year-old American girl. By the way, keep an eye out for that name, Asterix Talley.
16.
She's 16 and she's already contended in big events like the US Amateur. I think she was runner-up. And she's still got another year to go in high school, or 2 years to go in high school. It's scary. Australian Sarah Hammett was over there. Unfortunately missed the cut, so I didn't get to play at Augusta in the final round, but would have got the practice round. We also had New Zealander Enso Choi and Janeeth Wong, who was representing Malaysia, but she plays out of the Metropolitan Golf Club. So unfortunately all missed the cut, but they got to experience Augusta. So well done to all those 3 girls.
Fantastic.
All right.
Hey, before we move on, I just was thinking with that hat, leave the hat on.
Sorry.
Leave the hat on.
Okay.
Ron Howard and Nick O'Hearn.
Yes.
Very similar.
Okay.
Very similar.
Say, oh, come on, Potsy.
Opie. Opie Cunningham.
Say, Ralph Mouth, not again.
That just occurred to me when you had that hat on.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
I usually wear sunglasses when I have a hat on.
Anyway, that's this week's show. Make sure you look out for the FootJoy special. And believe me, you're going to learn stuff from that FootJoy special. It's not just how you look on a golf course, it's how you perform on a golf course.
And the Masters bonus as well.
Yes, and the Masters multi, my God. Get ready to be happy. We're going to make you all rich. Anyway, we'll talk to you later in the week.
I don't think legally we can say that.
Okay.
Oh, I think I can.
He can say anything.
Yeah.
He wants Timmy Trumpet.
See you guys.
And that's been Talk Birdie to Me, Australia's most popular golf podcast with Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen, coming from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. As everyone knows, Titleist is the #1 ball in golf and FootJoy the #1 shoe and glove in golf. Wherever you get your podcasts, make sure to subscribe, maybe leave a review, and we'd love you to share the pod with a friend who loves their golf. Huge thanks to our fantastic partners. Ping, like they do for Nick O'Hearn, will help you play your best. You can see your local golf shop or professional for a Ping Club fitting. The Golf Clearance Outlet always beat everyone's prices. Visit golfclearanceoutlet.com.au for your nearest store. Watch My Numbers is the most powerful data-based golf app in the world. You can download from the App Store or Google Play. And better, they've got the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. Download from the App Stores today. Now that's better. Keep in mind, what are you really gambling with? But for now, from our studio at Titleist and FootJoy headquarters, thanks for being a part of the show. We'll see you next time.
Life is a war for status.
Women don't want you to be kind. They want you to control them. If you're not in control as a man, you're a beta.
Who are you texting?
I know you left me on scene.
You're gonna regret walking, man. Control as a man.
James. Is everything alright?
Yeah, it's nothing.
So, you're definitely alright. Yeah. Do you know what's influencing your kids? Learn the hidden trends of disrespect before they lead to violence.